Hi everyone, Molly here. I'm your Senate candidate for the Health Australia Party in New South Wales. Tonight I'm talking about a herbicide called glyphosate. And I'm sure most of you will have heard the word glyphosate. It's been in the media quite a bit with a successful court case in the US. And you may wonder why I've made a point of isolating this herbicide. I'm going to talk about the environment tomorrow night, and glyphosate was just going to be a part of that talk. However, the deeper I dug into this herbicide, the more I realised I had opened Pandora's box. I talked to many experts in the field, from counsellors to farmers to scientists. And it's interesting, glyphosate is the most widely used herbicide in the world. And it's the active ingredient in a product called Roundup. That's easy to buy in the shops. Monsanto make it, and I know we've all heard about old Monsanto, haven't we? And it's now used in approximately, now get this, 539 other products in Australia. 539 opportunities for you to be contaminated with this product. Glyphosate is based on glycine. Now, that's an amino acid, and it acts by blocking the production of other amino acids, preventing plants from making proteins, which in turn prevents plant growth. So they die. And this herbicide is so effective that they've actually had to create genetically modified crops, such as canola, to resist the effects of being sprayed by this herbicide. And it sounds useful, really, doesn't it? What is not so useful is the growing list of known side effects on humans from glyphosate. It's a little surprising that something that is so good at killing weeds might not even be considered as dangerous to humans. I just find that amazing. There are actually a number of court cases being conducted around the world. There's quite a few of them, where manufacturers' glyphosate are being sued for the damage that its use is causing human lives. And these are, of course, being very hotly contested by the manufacturers, who are defending the enormous income stream that glyphosate brings into their businesses. But the cost to human lives is potentially immense. There are a multitude of scientific tests and trials in progress, or have already been concluded around the world, and they point to all manner of issues caused by the widespread usage of this single product. First of all, it's known to disrupt the microbiome, which is the gut bacteria. And this has been associated with obesity, with diabetes, and immunological problems. It can disrupt the development of genes and bacteria in the gut at what are considered safe doses. Mind you, I've got to say here, I don't know what a safe dose of a chemical is for a human being. I guess a dose that doesn't quite kill you straight away, but to me that's always been a ridiculous thing to say it's a safe dose. What level is safe? It's been found in the bloodstream of human beings in the last 20 years. It's certainly found in the air and in the rain. You know, when they spray it, you can watch them spray. It's not a direct little line of spray onto a plant. It's a spray, and it does go everywhere. There are cancers associated with glyphosate exposure, particularly the non-Hodgkinson lymphoma. I think that's the big court case in America that's just won a very large settlement. Also known to be a factor in causing ADHD, Alzheimer's, autism, sterility. 1 in 3 males in the US is now sterile. That is pretty scary. Birth defects, celiac disease, colitis, heart disease, inflammatory bowel syndrome. Gut problems would probably be, in my practice, apart from the chronic disease of cancer, but bowel diseases, gut problems like reflux and so on, Most I see, most people have got some sort of gut issue. Also known to disrupt kidney function, so causing kidney disease, liver disease, Parkinson's. It's noted in Parkinson's disease. And based on these experiences and risks, a number of councils, cities, states, countries have banned the use of glyphosate in public places. For instance, in Australia, we've got 4 councils that have imposed such a ban. Just 4, but it is a start. Perth, Tassie, Byron Bay, and 1 in Queensland. And I believe there are around 40 councils around Australia that are trialling different ways of dealing with weed control. So we must have councils considering the risk involved to you and to me from the use of glyphosate, and they must start to say no. So what is the alternative if they can't use these chemicals, these herbicides? What are the alternatives to use? Well, you know what? It's not really rocket science. My husband goes and boils our kettle, and he takes a kettle of boiling water out and he just pours it onto the weeds a day or 2 and they're dead. So what are these councils and other countries doing? They're using steam therapy, pouring steam onto them, and it's working. This method is being applied as a replacement, and some other councils are trialling different herbicides, but to them I say, stick with the steam, guys. It doesn't hurt our environment, doesn't hurt us. So generally, we as a society, we've really got to be more careful about turning to chemicals as an easy way to fix things like weed control. But if we have to use a chemical, seriously, they must be rigorously tested. You know, there are around, well, 80,000, but who knows the full count of compounds, of chemicals under, and I've never actually seen a report that says this has been trialled for 10 years and we know it doesn't hurt any human beings or wildlife. It doesn't destroy our land. I haven't seen any studies that can do that. And I know that there's certainly no studies done on compounding the chemicals, 3 or 4 chemicals together, because you and I, we are subjected to chemicals in the air, chemicals in our water, chemicals in our food, and not just one at a time. There are hundreds in there, and none of us know what they are. So there's got to be more vigorous testing, and there's got to be labeling. We deserve to know what we're consuming, what's being put into our body, what we're breathing in, what's in our rain even, chemicals in our rain. Really scary. I honestly will work strenuously in the Senate for these type of controls to be implemented. A single drop of glyphosate applied to a weed may kill the weed, and at the same time, that one drop on you or me may show absolutely no immediate effect. However, that accumulative effect of this chemical on a human being must have an effect. It can't not have an effect. It's really simple. If a chemical can kill a plant, it can surely kill a human being. So with that said, you know, the half-life of glyphosate is about 47 days. So it lives on the plant looking dead and in the soil for around 47 days. Depending on the plant and the environment at the time, it can live from 2 to nearly 200 days. So we don't really know how long that area of grass in the park that was sprayed, we don't know how long that may actively affect you or your child. So these things need to be considered by councils. We need to say no unless we can guarantee safety to humans, wildlife. Wildlife will be affected so deeply by these chemicals. I don't know, with the amount of extinctions we're getting at an alarming rate. We've got to stop and think about it. It amazes me that there's not an outcry not just from you and me, but from the government saying, what are we doing? But you know what? I guess the dollar talks, doesn't it? So on that note, vote for me. Let me get into the Senate so that I can jump up and down on my butter box, I can open the open door of the box, I can fling everything out of the box, and we can get some change in our environment, the health of our people, our country. We all deserve that. Okay, that's it for tonight. Let me just have a look. There's a few little scary stuff, Grace says. Absolutely scary. I just can't believe that we as human beings have been so silly for so long. But, you know, ka-ching, ka-ching, that dollar does do funny things to us. Steam therapy, yeah, hot water. And, you know, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, put some salt in it. Salted hot water just got no chance to survive, those poor little plants. And vinegar, Rachel says vinegar. Yep, correct. Vinegar does work well. Kate says, yeah, it does live for 47, from 2 to 200 days. The average is about 47 days. So, you know, I guess it depends who's telling you things as to what sort of truth or information you're going to get. But yeah, that soil is contaminated and that's it. How it affects the gut. They don't really know. They know it affects enzymes and the genes. And what I could find from the people I spoke to, there's no definitive way of saying it does A, B, and C in the gut, just that they know that gut health is compromised. And what can you do to heal the gut? Grow your own veggies so you know you're not getting any of this stuff. Although it's in the air and it's in the rain, you're not going to avoid it. Keep your gut clean. Probiotics, of course, are good. Prebiotic foods are very important. Things like sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, beautiful. And just keep your gut as clean as you can. Make sure your liver's constantly supported. So our body is constantly detoxing, isn't it? It's part of the process of what the liver does. So it's not as though you have to go and do a big detox for a fortnight or, you know, live on water for a month or something. You don't have to do that. In fact, that would be the opposite to what you should do, because our bodies are chemically contaminated. Babies are born with around 300 chemicals in their cord blood. Man, these little tots, they're fighting before they're even out of the womb. We've developed something crazy. We've allowed insanity to reign for a few bucks. Really, that's the bottom line. Sorry, lost my track. What was I talking about? Chemicals, the gut, the liver, the kidneys. Yeah, so keep your gut. Support your liver. That's where I was at. Dandelion root, fantastic for the liver. And you know that ad on telly that has 0, which is a glyphosate chemical, spraying our beautiful dandelion root. Really, the very chemical killing the very herb that we need to keep supporting our liver. So what can you do? Fight. Talk to your councils. Don't let this rest. Irrespective of what happens in Saturday's election, I'm not going to let this rest. And we all together, we've got to stand up. You've got to speak out. We've got to be heard. Because if we're not, another decade from now, it's not going to be a pretty picture on this planet anywhere. Oh, well, on that cheery note, I guess I'll say good night. Thank you so much for listening to my little ranting on my butter box. Please vote for me. Get me into the Senate so that I can help make a difference, so that we can, you know, stand and support each other to make a difference. Vote 1. Molly, the Senate Health Australia Party. Good night for now.